It's official. August is my favorite month ever, and not just because Taylor Swift wrote a song about it, but also because I officially hit a 40K month in August, my highest revenue month to date. And no, it wasn't from some overnight viral video or some last minute launch. It came from stacking smart, sustainable revenue streams and building an intentional social media strategy to go with it. In today's episode of the Dishing Up Digital podcast, I'm going to be breaking down the exact numbers, the exact revenue streams, and all of the strategies that have led me towards hitting this milestone. From client work to brand deals to the digital product that brought in $25,000 in sales, nothing is off limits in this episode. Welcome to the Dishing Up Digital podcast, where the dress code is sweatpants and the business model is freedom first. I'm your host, Ellen, and I quit my 9-to-5 job because it was sucking the soul out of me, and I figured out the Wi-Fi was better at home anyway. And now I am a proud 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. grind girly, building a business that feels good, pays well, and leaves room for a glass of midday rosé. Around here, we are not chasing the hustle. We're building freedom-first businesses that make an impact on the world without sacrificing our sanity. Whether you're a coach, creator, service provider, or CEO in the making, this podcast is your permission slip to do business your way. With strategy that slaps, mindset that moves, and the vibes that feel like a voice note from your biz bestie, this is Dishing Up Digital, baby. The wine is optional, but revenue isn't. Now, of course, the quick disclosure before we get in, whenever I'm talking about money, this is coming from a place of inspiration and wanting to be transparent and share with you guys. It is in no way bragging. And I've been making videos like this since I first started in my business. And I also have been the girl who sat at a miserable corporate job looking for an escape and not understanding how I could start my own business. So I make these videos for the people that are like that. I'm not here to brag. And if that's your attitude, then you don't have to watch this. I know income and money can be a touchy subject or a taboo subject to some people. So again, if that's you, you don't have to watch or listen to this podcast episode. You can move right along. But I'm really excited to connect with those who are on a similar business journey to mine, and hopefully you're going to walk away with some really exciting strategies and ideas you can implement to your own business to increase your income. Now, my second disclosure, and I promise, if you don't want any of my rambling, you can skip ahead to get into the juicy numbers. But I want to paint a little bit of context, paint a bit of a background picture here, and talk a little bit about my journey to 40K months. Because if I'm being fully honest, I could totally have hit this milestone a lot earlier in my business. I could have just taken on more clients, taken on more contractors, scaled up my agency. And I know a lot of people who have done that very successfully. But for me and my journey, I didn't want to do that. And for me, I knew that my journey to this next income milestone was all about doing it my way, doing it in a sustainable way, and doing it by offering services that I loved. And what most of you probably don't realize is I have been working towards this for 2 freaking years. For 2 years, I have been stuck my highest month so far. I think I've had a few 38K months. I've never quite cracked 40. And for me, it has been about restructuring my offers, restructuring my team, coming up with different strategies because I wanted to reach this milestone without burning myself out, without sacrificing my mental health, my energy, and still maintaining a very flexible work schedule. So it has been a long time coming, which is why I'm excited to record this episode. And I also want to give that context for those that maybe are on a similar journey to me, where you don't want to scale in the conventional way of growing this huge business with all these employees. You want to look at something like a freedom-based business. It's kind of what I use to sum up my business. And if you're new around here, hi, hello, my name's Ellen. Nice to meet you. We're getting really intimate for a first video. I'm going to show you all my revenue streams, but I am a very multi-passionate creator. And sometimes I find it hard to describe what exactly my job is with my business, especially if I go to a more traditional networking event and they're like, so Ellen, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm a social media manager / strategist. I'm also a business coach. I also do marketing education. I also do consulting. And then I throw in a few random things like, oh yeah, I have a podcast. I have a YouTube channel. I wrote a book. I just love creating. I think at my heart, I've always been a creator, and that's what I still am today. And I think that's the word that I feel most drawn to describe my career and my business. But I have somehow managed to go from the girl who loved Zoella, who loved watching beauty tutorials in high school, and turn this into a full-time business. And I have done that through one-on-one services. I've done that through digital products and a few other revenue streams that we're going to walk through today. So I think this not only is going to give you some great strategies if you want to scale your income, but also some amazing inspiration if you're looking for ways as a creative individual that you can start a business. Oh, I also forgot one last disclosure or disclaimer, I should say, is I'm talking about $40,000 in revenue. This isn't profit. I think that's a really important thing to point out. If I added expenses into this video, I just felt like it was going to get a little bit too long and boring. I also have to admit my expenses have not been done for this month, so I don't have a 100% clear picture on that. I also want to point out this isn't like $40,000 in sales. I actually would have cleared probably $50,000 in sales if we want to get technical about it, because I have products that I sell on payment plans. I personally don't track my business in terms of sales income. I track it as like actual money in the bank account, because until it's in my bank account, to me, it doesn't count. I will also say that I have a second business, Mackenzie Studios. Again, if you're new around there, this is my content studio, my for hire space. And if I were to include that business, this would actually be my first 50K month, but I don't know that I'm ready to do that because Mackenzie Studios runs on a very low profit margin. So it feels like cheating to me. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. But I could say that we had $50,000 total across the two business in revenue, but I would say like the profit from Mackenzie Studios only sat around $2,000 or $3,000. So it feels like cheating to be like rounding that up to my first 50K month. So I'm going to come back to you guys when I unlock the 50K milestone and break that down. But for now, we're going to call it 40. We're going to focus on 40, and I'm going to break down all of the revenue streams that have built me towards this milestone. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I wish it was 10 because that kind of sounds a little bit cooler, rounds it out. But we have 9 revenue streams to walk through in today's video. I'm going to start with the smallest revenue stream and work my way up to the largest. And I'm going to break down a little bit more about like the context, how I feel about this revenue stream, if I think it's something worth investing more time into. And yeah, we're going to start with the bottom one, which is 0.38%. is a very small revenue stream. For the month of August, 0.38% of my revenue came from affiliate revenue. If you're not familiar with affiliate revenue, this is basically, or affiliate marketing, I should say, this is when I'm sharing a product or a service or an app or software that I like using. I share it with my audience. If they end up purchasing or signing up for that software through my affiliate link, I get a very small commission from that. It's no extra cost to you guys. If you go into the description boxes for a lot of my videos, you might find some affiliate links. Sometimes I occasionally put my clothing in there as well. I've made a couple of $100s off my affiliate for my clothes this year, but most of the time it is software subscriptions. And this particular payment came from one software company. And again, I did have other affiliate sales this month, so technically it could be higher, but I only count it when it hits my bank account. And the thing about affiliate revenue is often there's a 30 to sometimes 90-day window where the company will hold the payment to make sure that the client or customer is not refunding or canceling whatever they're purchased, and then you'll get your payout. So that is one downside to this revenue stream. Sometimes you'll be like, oh my gosh, like I had one the other month where I thought I'd made a $500 affiliate commission because someone bought some very expensive software on like an annual plan. And I was like, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. And then sure enough, 2 weeks later, I went to check on it and that person had canceled the subscription. And I was like, damn it, why you gotta tease me like this? So we didn't get that commission in the end. I think this is a revenue stream that I have been trying to grow. So I like that it's at least in this 40K month. I think it's a revenue stream that is very passive. There's a lot of pros to it, but I also think a lot of people underestimate how difficult it is to make money off affiliate revenue. It doesn't just magically happen. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy, and I'd like to improve it. I'd like to see that percentage go higher, but it's great to see it in there for now. Moving on to the second to lowest revenue stream. This one comes in at a whopping 0.63% roughly, and that is membership payments. So I don't actually have a public membership that you guys can just go and join. This is more like a backdoor entry offer. No, not even an entry offer. It's a backdoor offer that is for my Dishing Up Digital School students. When they take that mentorship program, when they go through that course, they get 12 months access to my community. And then I have the option for them to extend that for a really low fee of $47 a month. This is for those students that want continued coaching and support and access to me, and it makes me a nice couple $100 a month, so I'm not going to complain. It's a very easy offer, and it's more for my students rather than for me, but it's nice that it does add up. I think when I was looking over the years, I've made a decent couple of $1,000s of that, so it does add up. Speaking of adding up, the next revenue stream, we've gone up to 0.68%, and that is my smaller digital products. And I want to touch on this because the first, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4 revenue streams are all under 2%. And it might seem so small, but I honestly think this is what has helped me scale to some of these bigger income milestones, is kind of understanding and appreciating all of my revenue streams, no matter how small they are, I should say. And over time, I also know that these are going to increase as well. Like my smaller digital products will continue to increase in their sales, and that percentage will get larger. And I have a lot of trust and faith in that. So for me, there's no disappointment. I'm like, all sales are welcome. I love a $2,000 sale and I love a $20 sale equally. So my smaller digital products, it was only like around $300. And for a little bit of context, I did have a launch for one of my higher ticket digital products, and that took a lot of focus and energy and effort. And this really supports the argument that I've kind of talked about in a few other videos when I've touched on digital products. I do have on my YouTube channel a video where you can build a digital product with me and see a breakdown tutorial of how I do it, the software that I use, the techniques and strategies. And I love digital products, don't get me wrong, but I do often say that people need to realize that they are something that requires effort, time, and energy to sell. And if you aren't actively promoting your digital products like I was in the case of this group, they are not going to sell. So I think this was my lowest amount of sales for my small digital products out of the year, which is kind of hilarious, right? Because it's like, it was my biggest income month, but those were my lowest amount of sales. So you can see we're building to some higher ticket offers that have kind of swung this into my biggest month. And again, this is a part of, if you're going to go down the track of small digital products, like you need to focus on selling them en masse and building quite a big community. But for me, the small digital products are mostly my social media manager template bundle. I also have an upsell of this with a one-off masterclass as well, so that can increase my order value. The next revenue stream jumps up to 1.18%. Again, small, but I won't say no, because to me, this is quite a passive, nice to have revenue stream, and that is my YouTube AdSense. So I make money off the ads that will roll before my YouTube videos and also my mid-roll ads. And as you can see, it's only 1.18%. It's not enough to live off. And this is why I think creators need to be doing brand sponsorships, or they need to be offering their own services or their own products, because you really can't make a living just uploading content. Like I wish we could. And maybe, again, the big players who are getting consistently multiple millions of views might be able to. But even then, like, I don't think that's a very good business model. Like, you're very much reliant on algorithms and views, and I'm not about that. And that is why when I decided I wanted to start my business, I went into social media management. I started offering one-to-one services. From there, I've grown into things like one-to-many services, so like group coaching programs, courses, and more passive revenue streams. And again, it all adds up. I'm not going to say no to my couple $100s a month from YouTube, but just in case you're curious and were thinking that you're just going to become a YouTube millionaire, there's usually people who are doing that. They have something else going on behind the scenes. Like there is some other business in the works. Speaking of which, if we jump to revenue stream number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is when things start to get a little bit more juicy, a little bit more interesting. My 5th revenue stream is coaching. This comes to a total of 5.75% of my revenue from my 40K month. So still relatively small. And this is a service that I don't think is it's often not as scalable, because there is an element of one-to-one work when you're doing coaching. At least that's how I categorize it in my business. But it's something that I love, something that I find very rewarding. I personally think I'm someone who was like made to teach. It brings me so much joy. I like to think, not to toot my own trumpet, but I like to think I'm pretty good at it. And coaching, working one-on-one in a very like close container with people is something that I really like. And being able to come in and consult on a business, whether it's coaching them on their Instagram strategy, building them a new marketing funnel, or consulting on building them a marketing funnel, because or else if I was building it, it would be a different revenue stream. But being able to like consult and help someone build their business or grow their business is very rewarding. So my coaching category is always made up of either private coaching clients, or I do now have a mastermind, and I do class that as coaching because we don't really have a set curriculum. We don't have courses. There's no like self-study video lessons. My mastermind is a small group of 3 other social media managers, and we meet 3 times a month. I also do like quarterly, bi-monthly one-on-one coaching calls with them. And it's basically helping them scale their business, helping them do exactly what I'm kind of showcasing in this video of building more revenue streams and getting away from just relying on one-to-one work. It's also about scaling up their team members, outsourcing, and all of that good stuff. My next revenue stream is something that you will have guessed to have been on this as a social media manager, my client work. And these are clients that I'm usually doing management or content creation for. If I'm doing just strategy, I kind of class that under coaching. I didn't have any strategy-based clients this month. I just had my one regular recurring monthly management client that I do content creation and I manage their Instagram for. They are someone that I've been working with for 5 years. And 2025 has been an interesting year for me where I've really scaled back on the client work. I've been a social media manager for 6 years now, 5 years full time. And I really just wanted to challenge myself to do something a little bit different this year. So I still have either like 1 or 2 clients a month. And as you can still see, like 6% of my revenue stream, it's still making a decent contribution. I still love it. But my style of work is I love working with less clients and working with them in a close and intimate capacity and really being part of the team instead of working with like a dozen clients on smaller retainers. That is my style, my approach to doing business. I don't outsource my social media management work, hence why there's also a cap there. Like it has to be, like they have to be working with me directly, and I have a cap on my time. But I do often get this question because I obviously teach a lot about social media management. Yes, I am still actively a social media manager with currently my own one singular client. Sometimes some months it's up to 2 clients. The next revenue stream is another around 6%-ish, so similar to my client work. And this is a revenue stream that was kind of only relevant for August. It's not something that I do all the time, but this was online event ticket sales. So last month you might have seen in August, I hosted the Social Media Manager Summit. This is what I think is now going to be an annual event. So, stay tuned for next year. It was 3 days of teaching. And this year I actually made the event free to attend, but I did have the option to purchase an all access pass. And that gave you a whole bunch of bonuses, access to some of my smaller Instagram courses, access to like an extra coaching call with me, and a whole bunch of bonuses, including lifetime access to the recordings from the summit. So you could attend for free, you could watch the replays for a limited time, or you could buy the all access pass. And this was a very cool experiment for me. I've never done an offer like this, and it did sell really well. Like 6% of my revenue stream is nice. Again, not going to turn my nose up at that. And I really enjoyed the event. We had around 600 social media managers or aspiring social media managers register. And then we had around 300 people who either turned up live at some point throughout the 3 days, or they came along and watched the replays that week. I really enjoyed this structure because it kind of made the event very accessible for anyone to attend because they didn't have to pay. And it meant that I felt like I could reach more people, but it also meant those who were ready to invest and did want to sign up and kind of work a little bit further with me, they had that option of the all access summit pass. Now, this is when things start to jump up a little bit. As you can tell, we've had all of these little percentages adding up together. And now we're jumping to my 8th revenue stream, which makes up 10%, and that is brand partnerships. So these are sponsorships that I do across my social channels. The reason why this is a chunkier percentage is because I tend to sell quite large sponsorship packages. Like it's not very often that you'll see me do just like a one-off reel. I do occasionally if I really like the brand and I'm trying to maybe build a bit of a relationship with them. But most of the time, I'm going to do multi-platform campaigns that usually last a month, which means I could do one sponsorship deal and it could add like a significant amount to my revenue stream that month. This is not the highest month in terms of brand partnerships. I have had it go higher than 10%. I think I've had some months this year where it's gone up to 30%. But this kind of brings me to what is the juicy percentage? Like we've only got up to what? 12, 22. Oh my God, I'm so bad at math trying to calculate this. Let's say we're roughly like 40%. Oh my God, I'm so bad at math, guys. Like here I am counting up all these tiny percentages when I could just look at the 9th revenue stream and minus off. Why am I like this? This is why I make YouTube videos, guys. This is why I'm a creator. I don't do math. But anyway, if we look at all those small percentages, that adds up to around like 40-ish% of the 40K a month. So the other 60% comes from one revenue stream, and that is the Dishing Up Digital School. This is my signature course, my signature mentorship program. It is technically what I class as a digital product, but it is a premium digital product. It has a self-study course as well as a online community where I support my students and do live classes and answer all their questions and that kind of thing. And that is an offer that I have been developing for 5 years. Like the first time the Dishing Up Digital School curriculum was born, I taught it one-on-one to people. So it started as a one-on-one program, then it transitioned into a live group coaching program. Now it is in its beautiful form of a self-study course and means we have a rolling enrollment, blah, blah, blah. Kind of boring stuff. I don't want to dive too deeply into digital product strategy and course structure and stuff in this, but the reason I'm kind of touching on that is because I don't develop a digital product that makes $25,000 in a month overnight. It is something that I have been growing and building for quite some time. In August, I also had a very strategic launch that came off the back of my summit. So there were a lot of costs and also a lot of risk involved with running an online summit is not cheap, guys. Like I paid $2,000 for the webinar or the summit software alone. And then that's not including like my team that worked with me, my contractor fees, and all my other software expenses. And then the time actually spent and invested. Actually, I'll put up a photo of this if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Spotify. But the week after my summit, my body like fell apart. So I had this awful muscle spasm through my neck, which was definitely like a stress thing, but also an exhaustion thing. And I looked like suddenly I was like the gym babe with these huge trapped muscles, but it was literally just the spasming of my muscle, and I just looked ridiculous. If you look at this photo, I'm a little bit embarrassed to share it now that I said that I will, but your girl was not looking good, and that was because I put my literal soul, all of my energy, my heart and soul into hosting that summit. So it was a big time and energy commitment from me. I didn't know if it would pay off, but it did end up funneling a lot of people towards the Dishing Up Digital School. And again, we could make a whole other video talking about funnels and sales strategy and all that. But what I love is seeing this breakdown of the Dishing Up Digital School is a very scalable offer. You'll see that, like I mentioned with my coaching, with my client work, there is a cap on that because it's me having to show up and work individually one-on-one with people. There's only so much of that I can do in a day versus things like my digital products. They have a scalability to them. And that is why they can kind of go a bit wild sometimes and turn into really huge chunks of your revenue. So if we do a little recap, my 9 revenue streams from, let's go largest to smallest, the Dishing Up Digital School, my signature digital product, brand partnerships, online event ticket sales, client work, coaching, YouTube AdSense, smaller digital products, membership, and affiliate revenue. Now, if this video has inspired you and you're like, damn girl, I want to start my creator career, I want to utilize my skills and start a social media management business and grow it into something potentially like what I have today, I'd love to invite you to my free webinar. This is happening next week. If you're listening to this on the week this podcast comes out, September 16th, I'll be going live. It's completely free. Come along for an hour. I'm going to be sharing the 3 most important steps to getting started as a social media manager and booking out your services. And if you are a fellow freelancer, service provider, creator, or coach, I do have another exciting program that is brand new that I'm going to be launching later this month. So make sure you're following me on Instagram, but it's going to be a pop-up program, 4 weeks where we are going to work together to step up into your CEO energy on social media, start showing up like the CEO that you are consistently with strategy and power, and how to start converting more clients and sales from your social content. So that's going to be a really fun program that's going to include a personalized audit of your Instagram from me, a pop-up channel, private broadcast channel for 4 weeks with lots of content prompts and ideas, as well as a really awesome group live training all about my Instagram strategy for 2025 going into 2026 and how we can optimize our social pages to book more clients and make more money. So that is how you can work with me at the moment. Or if you're ever interested in private coaching, remember you can slide into my DMs and I'd love to chat with you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, whether you watched on YouTube or you listened on Spotify. It's great to have you here. Make sure you're subscribed and following for next week's episode, and I'll catch you then.